And sacrifice. Happy Veterans Day. Welcome home. Today we're going to meet a man who didn't serve in the Army or the Navy or the Marines, but he wanted to serve our country in a different way. Steve Nardizzi founded the Wounded Warrior Project, and he's got a special connection to it.
Steve, welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's a great day here in New York.
A Wounded Warrior Project, you guys are on the forefront of serving veterans who are wounded seriously in combat. First of all, thank you for the organization. It's terrific.
We're blessed to be able to do the work. I meet so many amazing men and women from this generation in these conflicts who are still willing to give back despite their injuries.
Steve, you're a Queens boy.
Absolutely.
Your father and grandfather served in the military?
That's right. Both actually my father and my uncle, both World War II vets, and they're the ones who got me interested in veterans advocacy.
For those unfamiliar with the Wounded Warrior Project, just what's its mission?
Well, our mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. So we work with warriors from this generation with everything from helping in their physical rehabilitation, their mental health needs, getting them trained up and educated and employed.
And it's not just the employment, but it's also some athletics as well, right?
Absolutely.
It makes them feel good when they can go out there and ski or...
Yeah, when you take men and women who are physically active and then they have a severe injury and a disability, you want to get them as quickly as possible, realizing what they can still do, whether it's skiing, whether it's water skiing, getting out and getting engaged in sports they've done before, even if they have an amputation or a severe burn. It really boosts their confidence to move forward in life.
Can you tell us some of the, I know Wounded Warrior Project has really been one of the leaders in the PTS work in TBI. Can you tell us a little bit about how that got started and what the results seem to be?
Sure. You know, when we first started working right at the beginning of these conflicts in 2003, we noticed quickly that the physical injuries were not going to be the most challenging things that these warriors faced. It was really combat stress, depression, the invisible wounds of war. You know, talking about traumatic brain injuries, they're the ones that can create the longest term struggle. They're the hardest for warriors to want to identify that they have. It's not easy for family members to see, and if you cannot get somebody's mental health in the right state, then their physical health is going to be impacted, their ability to get employed and empowered. And the great news is, though, with the right amount of support, these warriors can push through. They can not only cope and live with a disability like combat stress, but they can actually thrive and move forward in life.
How many wounded warriors are there? Would you say
well,
from given the post 9/11 conflicts?
Well, over 50,000 have been wounded in action with physical disabilities, and it's estimated that there's 300,000 to 600,000 more living with combat stress right now in this country.
Steve, how would this have helped your dad and your uncle? Because you founded this in 2003, right?
Absolutely. You know, when my dad and my uncle came back, there was a great support network for them in their communities. Everyone had served. You know, everyone was impacted in some way by the war. That's not happening today. You know, today less than 1% of the American public serves, and warriors are coming back to communities, they're coming back to colleges and employers who don't necessarily understand their service, and that's why it's so important for the whole American public to really understand what's going on with the warriors and to be there to support them.
If somebody wants to help, how can they get in touch with your organization?
They can go on to woundedwarriorproject.org, find out more about the struggles of our vets and their successes, and get involved.
And I will say, Steve started out when the focus was going to be on these physical injuries. And in the last year or so, you have just boomed as far as the number of alumni and the vets that have come to you and say, we can help. You've reached out. They've had an enormous growth. Am I correct on this?
You are, and you've been a great spokesman when it comes to PTSD as well, and so I hope you continue to do that, sir. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Steve Nardizzi from the Wounded Warrior Project. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, let's go over to Elise with a special guest.